Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to address the gigantic elephant in the room in the MMA space, which is, of course, Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. Who is going to win this fight at International Fight Week that is taking place in just over a week for the undisputed lightweight title that is now vacated by Islam Makhachev, which we're going to get all into in this video. But firstly, I need to thank you guys so much for all the support you've given me on this channel across the last year and a bit that it's been running. Across the last 165 odd videos, I mean, it has been fantastic. All the positive support you've given me through likes, through shares, especially the comments as well. It's really been motivating me, especially when some of my videos, you know, even are less than 100 views and I still get nice comments on them. That's still something that really motivates me because at least someone is getting something out of it and is enjoying something in it, which is just a really nice feeling for me. And I would really love to know what you guys want to see from this channel moving forward. Please leave a comment below because it really helps guide me and also my interest within the channel. So definitely leave a comment below what types of content you would love to see from me on this channel. But ultimately, thank you guys so much. Just hit 1,000 subscribers and could not have done it, obviously, without you guys. So thank you very much. Now back into the video and looking at International Fight Week with Islam Makhachev vacating the belt, and now we have Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. It's not necessarily the International Fight Week we're probably all wanting, because we're either wanting Islam versus Ilia or we're wanting John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, which we know that ain't happening. So we have now got Ilia versus Charles for the undisputed, and look, we can still get that super fight between Islam and Ilia, because it really just depends on Islam whether he actually moves up and wins against JDM, because he has already stated that he wants to come back down to lightweight and he wants to hold both belts. Now, is that all talk? Not really when it comes to Islam. He usually is a guy that just says what he's gonna do and he does it. So he hasn't really backed off that before, and I don't see him doing it now. So I would not be surprised if he takes that welterweight belt, and I mean, if he's looking really impressive and gets it done quickly against JDM, I will not be surprised if he has that feeling of like, I want to be a guy that has two belts simultaneously. I want that to be solidified, because that is his goal. That is his dream within MMA. That's his career dream. So we could definitely still see that Ilia versus Islam super fight, but that's obviously going to take Ilia winning this fight to do that. Now, is he going to do that? Well, looking at the thumbnail, he's not just going to win this fight at UFC 317 against Charles "The Bronx" Oliveira. He is going to chin Charles Oliveira in the first round. Now, why am I so confident on this? Well, firstly, I'm not counting Charles Oliveira out for a second, because Charles Oliveira, he is a guy that is just proven. He is proven in that lightweight division. He had a fantastic title run, and he does have opportunities within this fight when we really break it down. But I've got to say that with the odds are $1.24 to Ilia Topuria and $4 to Charles Oliveira. Charles being a 4-to-1 dog. I've got to agree with the odds here. I do have to agree with that gap, even though Charles is such a good fighter. We have got Ilia, who is arguably the most skilled fighter in MMA at the moment, against Charles, who is arguably the most beloved and one of, if not, the most popular fighter in MMA all around, and that's why it makes it such a good fight. Granted, it's not the Islam fight, but looking at Charles's best chance realistically of getting this done is utilizing the Muay Thai. He's got great Muay Thai, great kicks down the middle. He's got nice elbows. He's got nice knees. Now, he is bigger than Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria, in terms of actual height, he is not a big lightweight. He's quite short, and we've seen him in lightweight against Jai Herbert, where he almost got his head fucking taken off cleanly. But that aside, we know that Ilia has improved leaps and bounds since then. And also, Ilia's weight translation is looking seriously good moving into lightweight, because back when it came to that Jai Herbert fight, he wasn't solidified within that lightweight division. He wasn't like, I'm staying here, I'm not going down to 145. That was not the case. Now, this time, Ilia is fully focused on 155. He is done with 145. So he is tailoring his body perfectly for 155, and we can see that now. We've seen training footage, we've seen what he looks like. He is looking bigger, a lot more muscle density, and that is just a problem when it comes to Ilia and his style, because he's got a lower center of gravity. He's going to be very hard to get down to the ground, which that means Charles's submission-based threat isn't going to be there also much at all, in my opinion. I really don't see that happening, because Charles is not taking Ilia Topuria down. Charles does not have the wrestling there. Just like normal Brazilians have the A to the C. They have A, which is striking, C, which is grappling, jiu-jitsu, but they don't have the B. They don't have the B to connect it. They don't have the wrestling. And Charles does not have that. He doesn't have the wrestling there not to compete with Ilia Topuria. So unless Ilia takes him down and then Charles is able to hunt a submission there, I think that is literally, that's the only chance there, but I don't think it's going to be happening. I don't think that grappling is going to be able to overtake Ilia Topuria's wrestling pedigree at all. Now, when we look on the feet, Charles, I will say, he has improved his strike defense overall. He did it fairly well in the Arman fight, but Arman had double the output and still landed on him anyway. Charles did have a bit of a tighter guard, and he wasn't letting the big power shots get through on him, but he was still getting hit. He's a guy that gets hit. We look at him in the Chandler fight that he had most recently. He won that most clearly, but Chandler still matched his output because he was still able to get hit. And also in the 5th round, Chandler hurt him. Chandler hurt him in that 5th round, and the problem here, which is why I'm so confident in Ilia being able to take out Charles in the 1st round, is the fact that Charles is hittable, his strike defense isn't airtight enough, and when Ilia hits you, you fucking die. He's just got that much power. And furthermore to the KO power that Ilia has the volume. He throws more. He has a higher consistent output than Charles fight to fight, and he extends his combinations so much better. He does that so well by having that lower center of gravity, widening his base, just pressures forward, utilizes really nice feints, and then throws like 3-4 piece boxing combinations to press the opposition on the back foot because they're so worried about that power. But not only that, with Ilia having that lower center of gravity, widening that base to press off the penetration foot to then take them down. So that is the big issue there in terms of, oh, is he going to take me down or is he just going to try and knock my head off? There's two different options there. And granted, Charles would obviously rather take that option of Ilia taking him down because Charles obviously has an opportunity on the ground no matter who it is. We know Charles, best submission artist when it comes to offensive submissions in the game. He has a chance to submit Ilia Topuria. Definitely are an idiot if I'm saying that that's not true. So Charles definitely has that opportunity there, but Charles getting put on the back foot. We've seen him on the back foot. I mean, we've seen him in general when it comes to his head movement and his strike defense overall. Compared to a guy that has this much risk against him in Ilia with that power, Charles is cooked if he is on the back foot. There's just no chance because he doesn't move his head properly, and that strike defense is just not going to be able to stop every single shot. There's just no way you're believing in that. And with not having that tight strike defense, when Ilia advances, he's going to catch him. Like, it's just simple as that. And there's even to the point where I won't be surprised if Ilia wants to make a statement and take this to the ground and try and submit Charles there, which is the worst option for Ilia overall, obviously, with what I stated with Charles and his submission offense. But it comes down to weight translation again, because we got to remember, Charles, granted, he is a lightweight. He's bigger than Ilia overall as in terms of actual size. But you gotta remember, Charles was a featherweight at one point as well. He's not like a massive lightweight. He just isn't. That's Islam. Islam's the big lightweight. So that's where Charles doesn't have like all these big size kind of advantages, you know, the grappling. He isn't going to overpower Ilia or anything like that. If anyone's going to overpower anyone, Ilia is going to overpower Charles from top position. That's the problem there. And if Ilia really just dictates his pace on the ground, just imposes his will when it comes to those transitions, Ilia could definitely transition to then submit Charles. Because Charles, what he's got to be really careful of is if Ilia is transitioning on the ground and he's worried about the submission-based offense where Ilia is transitioning to, Ilia can just transition to a part like in half guard, where he's in top half and then he just rains down ground and pound. Charles has got to be wary of the ground and pound as well as the submission offensive threat. There's just too many threats from Ilia for Charles in this fight, ultimately. Even if Charles just invites the takedown into the guard, I just think that transitional ability with the threat of the ground and pound is just too much to deal with, especially with the added weight within top control as well. There's just so many problems here. And since Charles Oliveira's had the title, he's been hurt in 5 out of 7 fights he's been in on the feet. And it's really from his head just being glued to that center line. That's against literally guys like Gaethje, Chandler, Poirier. I mean, there's so many guys that have hurt him, you know, and Islam, you know, and that's the thing. It's not just going to magically change in this fight. And with him being glued to that center line, this is literally the worst opponent he can go against when it comes to those boxing combinations that Ilia has, especially pressing him up against the fence. Because who has Ilia taken out against the cage when he's pressed forward? He's taken out Max. He's taken out Volk. He's taken out Damon Jackson. He's taken out so many guys. He took out Jai Herbert at lightweight. He's taken out all these guys against the cage really, really badly. And Charles is just no exception to that with the strike defense flaws. And I just think Charles has absolutely no option but to just throw hands in this fight. Like, because he's not taking Ilia down. He doesn't have the offensive wrestling pedigree. And he needs to use the advantages that he has. It's not like a complete, like, there's no hope for Charles. Not saying that, trust me, because he's got a 5-inch reach advantage. He's got a 3-inch height and leg reach advantage as well, which can allow for an easier use of pumping knees up the middle to the body or to the head if he is in that clinch or finds himself in that clinch, which I will say is risky as fuck, especially off the break. Because if they're in the clinch and he's in a plum, if he's not landing the proper knees to take Ilia out, and he breaks, if Ilia swings the hook, Charles is done. Absolutely done. Because that's exactly what happened against Islam. But Ilia's got more power than Islam in those hands. So it's, honestly, if I'm Charles, Charles needs to invest heavily in the body with that reach advantage, using teeps, using jabs, using straights, and just do anything he can to pressure himself. Because we've seen Ilia with either being evenly pressured or being placed on the back foot even a little bit. We saw it against Volkanovski. We saw it against Max Holloway. And that's where those guys found success against Ilia. I mean, we look at Volk in the first round against Ilia. He won that round. And Max was winning the fight as well because he was able to at least even out that pressure. Because when Ilia is on the back foot, he doesn't really have those strikes to really deal with the opposition who has some, at least, adeptness on the feet when it comes to their striking ability, which Volk, clearly, fantastic striker on the front foot. Max, clearly, fantastic striker on the front foot. Same with Charles Oliveira. We've seen what he's done to guys like Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler as well on the front foot. Absolutely annihilated them. That's where I got to say, if Charles is able to do that, Charles has got the power too. Charles has got the power. If Charles is landing, he can definitely hurt or take out Ilia, because we've seen Ilia against like Jai Herbert. He ain't invincible. He's not invincible. I mean, he had a head kick, ate that like bad, but I mean, he's got good recovery, but I mean, you never know, especially against a guy like Charles. Like Gaethje said, Gaethje felt like his tongue got tased. It was that powerful from Charles Oliveira. And Charles, if he's landing properly, he can take Ilia out. But there's just so many less avenues for him to do so over Ilia Topuria, vice versa. So when we also look at Jai Herbert as well, like, I mean, he found a lot of great success against Jai Herbert later on, but Jai was able to actually flick good wild looping combinations against Ilia, and Ilia wasn't able to counter because he was just having to move out of the way of these strikes. And that's where Charles, just like Jai, having that advantage within the height, the reach, you know, reach with the hands and the legs, he's got those opportunities there. He's got the physical advantages there. And if he can overwhelm with the volume and the pace against Ilia on the back foot, then he does have a chance. Because Ilia's striking, like, don't get me wrong, obviously fantastic. On the back foot, you can say, oh, well, look what he did against Josh Emmett. He like 50-42 Josh Emmett, and he had great counter striking. The problem with Josh Emmett is Josh Emmett was using like very telegraphed strikes. He was using like winging overhands most of the time, and Ilia just had to slip once and then just counter him off of that. Like Max Holloway, Volkanovski, literally Herbert as well, and Charles are not going to do that. They didn't do that, and Charles is not going to do that either. Charles, on the front foot, very good at mixing up looping hooks, good with teeps, good with uppercuts. Like, he is dangerous on the front foot. There's a reason why he's been a champion before, and that striking is damn dangerous on top of that jiu-jitsu as well. So if Charles pressures effectively, mixes his shots well, he has a chance. He definitely has a chance because he's shown that power against your Chandlers, against your Gaethjes, and that's what he's got. That's literally the chance. That's the best explanation that I can give for Charles Oliveira to win this fight. But Ilia he's a forward pressure poacher. He's going to be hunting that kill shot through those long combinations against the cage. And the biggest crux here is ultimately the strike defense. Charles being able to pressure forward, and getting that finish within those wild exchanges and pushing him on the back foot, that's me clutching at straws here. I just don't see where Charles is honestly going to find that proper avenue to win this fight unless he lands a clean shot early and then he just imposes his will. But aside from that, once Charles Oliveira feels that power from Ilia Topuria, I think his game plan to pressure just goes straight out the window. He shells up, and if that is happening, Ilia, it's literally just a matter of when Ilia is going to knock him out. I think that Ilia just wins the pressure battle overall, and if he's winning the pressure battle after the first few exchanges, he's going to get the KO there. Ilia, with those long technical combinations within that boxing and that stupid power, it just translates even more so to that lightweight division. So, I mean, you look at how good he looked against Max Holloway and Volkanovski being more depleted. He's going to have more energy now, and Charles being a natural featherweight as well. There's not humongous advantages, especially when it comes to strength. That's where at 155, I have full faith in Ilia Topuria being able to take out Charles badly in this fight. I think it's going to happen within like the first 2-3 minutes. I think he's going to land a really nice shot in the middle of the octagon. He's going to back Charles up, and then it's going to be the beginning of the end. I think he's going to rip a really nice body shot, really nice body shot, cripple Charles. I think he's going to drop him down against the cage, and then I think he's just going to pound him out against the cage, ground and pound, technical finish against the cage. Out. I think he's going to split him from consciousness completely, and he is going to be the lightweight champion. I just don't see any real proper avenue that I'm going to be confident in for Charles Oliveira to win this fight. I love Charles, absolutely love him, but this is not the fight for him to win that belt back. And Ilia, he is hopefully going to be fighting Islam in a super fight, but overall, body shots going to pay dividends, and then the strikes over the top finish him, and then Ilia's just, yeah, title is his. So with me believing that Ilia Topuria is going to confidently take out Charles Oliveira in the first round with that power against that poor strike defense, I am very keen to hear what you guys have to say about this matchup in the comments below. So please leave your thoughts down below. I'm very keen to hear them. And again, thank you so much for all the support on the videos. Thank you for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. The motivation has been fantastic. Love you all. And there's a video here just on the screen for you guys to check out. I hope you enjoyed that one if you do want to check it out. And please like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.